Okay. Great. That gives me some idea. Thank you very much. And next, would you think of yourself as beginner, okay, or advanced user? That will also help me know how to continue with the talk. Okay. A couple of people, okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, SI. So I'll assume most people are beginner to okay. That's great, thank you. And next question, what AI are you using? So are you using, just one word answers I'm looking for. Oh, Louis, beginner, thank you. Well, yeah, thank you, Prisky. You started us off with ChatGPT and Claude. Louis using Gemini. Any other particular forms of Gen AI using ChatGPT? Thank you, Louis. Any other examples? Gemini, ChatGPT, Copilot, Ebenezer, yep, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we can stop there, thank you. And, oh, a couple more ChatGPTs, thank you, yep. This one needs a bit of thought. Oh, notebook, Ellen, thank you, Prisky, yep. A little bit of thought on what do you think are the biggest challenges you face with using AI? Oh, thank you, Isaac. Meta, Gemini, and ChatGPT, thank you. So first of all, that the uses of AI in different parts of the world are very different. So this is from the second half of 2025. Let's just pause for a moment to consider some of these differences. So you can see that the map is color-coded to indicate the percentage of working age population who are using AI. And I think there's some quite surprising things in here. So we've got a lot of the world, still only 5 to 20% of people in the working age population are using AI. So already you guys are ahead of the game. So, because you are all using AI, whether beginner or kind of, or okay, are using AI. Meanwhile, we can see that other places, surprisingly perhaps USA, are falling into the 21 to 35 category. South Africa is in that category as well. Quite a few countries in East keeping up with latest publications, academic publications in relation to AI. And one day this came across my feed. So this is a comparison between ChatGPT, Grok, and Claude, and Alex, summarizing what each of them is best for. So the next section is looking at how you can use AI, a couple of examples of the opportunities and a couple of examples of the threats, because as we'll see, those are very much kind of interlinked. First of all, a reminder. So we looked just now at the global map of AI. So what percentages of the population are actually using AI, as well as attitudes around the world. So this one, and how easily you can see the detail. Hopefully you can see the map, roughly speaking. You can see that green is people who have above average sentiment to AI. So green is people who like AI. Grey is sort of average. And blue is people who are below average. In other words, maybe a bit disappointed in what AI is doing. And I think the distribution here is again really interesting. First off, notice South Korea. So South Korea was the greatest user of ChatGPT in our previous map. And we can see here that in South Korea, the general sentiment around AI is actually below average. So the people who are really using it a lot are not that excited about it. Interesting. Also, the United Kingdom and several European countries we can see are somewhat below average in sentiment, and Australia. Average, United States, we've got is the biggest number of responses at the average level. Also, some countries in Europe, also Japan. And then above average are a lot of the developing countries, India. We've got some data from Africa here, which is interesting. Also from Philippines, Indonesia, and South America. So there's a lot of good sentiment about AI in context. And I'm really curious about why differences in different contexts. The second we might say, well, the big users, the longer term users, are getting disappointed, whereas the people who are just getting on board are excited. Or it might be that there are other things about the illusion of productivity. So as individuals might think of using AI. And I'm focusing, I know the title was about tech and AI, but I've delved into what was to say about AI, so much to say about AI. I thought maybe best to focus just on this particular, and if the technologies you'd like to discuss later, then we can arrange something. Isaac can arrange something else, I'm sure. Anyway, so how might you as an individual most benefit from using AI? Business context, we need to be thinking about how to do collaboration both within and between organizations. And that leads me then on to the business of AI. How might your business, call in business, how might your business most benefit from using AI? And there's just a couple of thoughts before we wrap up and leave more any questions. So, talents. So, as a for example, in my university, colleagues feel they spend much too much time on bureaucracy, filling in things they really don't need PhDs for. There's a list of qualified and expensive human talents, human resource. So thinking about where AI can be used to free up human talent, for example, in automating the bureaucracy organizations need, but may not need to be done in such a kind of laborious manner by people who have different kind of skills and qualifications, perhaps. And the way that one colleague is thinking about this, one colleague working with SMEs as they in the creative industries as they adopt AI, is he's talking to them about using AI to do the washing up. In other words, to do the kind of boring stuff that's got to be done but nobody really wants to do, so that the people can spend their time on the things that they enjoy doing, that they're especially trained to do, and that will generate the most value for their companies. And then finally, there's a need to think through who is going to be best placed to carry AI forward, and consider maybe bringing in different types of leaders. Now, I put women over 50 as a bit of a, but also because I literally today I was researching this from ID, arguing with over 50 have particular skill sets that may be especially well suited to managing the transformation of organizations in their adoption of AI, because they have experience of managing both the human and technical needs at that point. Say more about leadership in a moment. And you may want to do some research on which of the tools align best with the way you like to do work. So that's my final general principle. Look after yourself, look at each of us, look after ourselves. That's all you need. We will be most effective if we share what we learn with each other. Develop your cognitive resilience as well as your emotional resilience, your physical resilience. The world is changing fast. The real question is, will you change with it? And then thirdly and finally, keep developing your critical and creative thinking.
Okay, so thank you, of course, certainly.
Thank you very much. When I'm thinking about whether to consult ChatGPT on something, that's actually something that's in my mind. Is it worth it? Is it worth the water to do this thing that I was about to do? Or is there another way of doing it? So, and to the point of, use it or lose it, sometimes there's a double benefit. You find another way to do it without using the water and without your cognitive capacity. So yes, very much an important concern. Thank you for raising it. How AI can be used to, as we mentioned earlier, to provide some economic benefits, of course, but not to the detriment of the employees. I think it's very short-sighted of some companies to be letting their younger employees go because, AI can do the job. Because where will the senior employees come from in that case? So if companies are letting go their junior employees, they're losing the people who would learn through apprenticeship to become the more senior employees in years to come.